What's up, dude? Look, the truth is turkey actually doesn't suck as a meat, but the way that you've been cooking it certainly does. I want this video to achieve exactly 3 things for you this Thanksgiving. 1, I want you to have the least stressful Thanksgiving of all time so you can spend more time having fun with your family and less time in the kitchen. 2, I want you to experience the best turkey you've ever had with no need to brine or air dry. You can literally make this in 2 hours. And 3, I guarantee this will be the fastest turkey you've ever cooked, freeing up precious oven space that I know you're gonna need. And if that sounds like a good sales pitch to you, then trust me, just keep watching. Now let's go. We're gonna start today by dropping a 12-6 elbow on tradition and embracing a little bit of culinary wisdom, because we are gonna piece this turkey up. Because to be quite honest, cooking this turkey whole, you're never gonna get the breasts and the thighs exactly to the temperatures you want them to be. In my experience, that breast will always dry out, and considering it's such a large portion of the turkey, it demands a little bit of a better treatment than that. I'm gonna start by removing the neck that's inside. I'll talk about this a little bit later. Just set that aside. And since we're not brining it, we can go ahead and take out this piece, and then we'll flip around. I wanna untuck this neck here and get the giblets out. Set those aside. And for this process, I like to use a microfiber towel. I order these in bulk on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description if you need some. And I use this to grab onto the bird at various points while I'm piecing it up. That's for safety. Of course, you don't need to save this after. These things are really cheap. I don't like throwing a ton of them away all the time, but for this purpose, I'll definitely just trash this one after. As far as the knife goes, you could use a boning knife or a slicer like this one. Just make sure it's nice and sharp. That can only do you a lot of good. On another note, when you're carving up any kind of poultry, you want to make sure that this thing is cold. So it's still slightly frozen. That's exactly where you want it for slicing. Now, using the microfiber this whole time, I'm going to start on the wing here. And what we're going to do is sort of just make this circle cut around. So I'm going to make a few cuts around just like this. And then what I'm going to do is basically take this and bend it that way, right towards the top of the bird, until I hear a little pop. From there, we can go in and see the joint right here. It's very easy to see because it just looks like this large white circle here. And all we're gonna do is slice underneath that and just pull out the wing. And there's your wing out, simple as that. And as you're doing this, just make sure the handle of your knife stays dry, the turkey stays dry. Don't want anything slipping around. We don't want anyone getting injured. Now, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing just on the other side here. Push up and away, takes a little force. It may seem psycho, but I kind of like doing it. I don't know why I like breaking down poultry. Wing number 2. Now with the leg here, I wanna remove most of the skin so it stays on the breast, since that is more prone to drying out. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of push that skin in, and all I'm gonna do is slice it more towards the leg and less towards the breast. I don't really need to worry about the thigh. It's pretty forgiving. Now I'll spin the bird a little bit, and I'm gonna do my very best to try to get out the oyster of the turkey with the thigh. It can sometimes be hard to do, but you gotta basically slice along the spine kind of thing, just like this. And there you can see that's the oyster meat right there. So we're gonna slice along. Now what we're gonna do is simply just grab this thigh, slice through a little more here, and all we're gonna do is push it open like this. Boom. It's actually really easy to do. You'll hear that joint snap, which is right there. And all you're gonna do is follow that through, slice it off, and there's your leg right there off. Now we'll flip that around. Again, keep drying off your bird, and we're gonna do that same thing on this other side. Get that oyster, and snap it back. There's actually nothing to it, my friends. Leg number 2. Now, obviously, we need to get rid of these breasts, but first, what I like to do is make this thing stable, because I don't like this. And so what I like to do is just stand it up. This is a little unorthodox. And I like to take off the bones just with a cleaver like this. This also makes making stock easier, and it's not too hard to do. There we go. A little bit brutal, but hey, that's what we do. A little bit crazy. Behold! Now, the next thing I highly suggest you do is get out the wishbone, which is just running under the skin like this. Because if you try to slice out that breast right now, it'll just catch right on the wishbone. You won't be able to get a really clean slice. This is something you can also do with whole chicken. So you want to pull back this top skin right here. And first, just feel in there with your fingers. The wishbone is running just like this in a V shape. All we're going to do is take a little knife. Paring knife works best, or a boning knife. And we're just going to slice along both sides of the wishbone like this. On either side. Now look, there's no graceful way to do this. You kind of just scraping at the bone until you free it up enough. If you can get it out in one piece, kudos to you. If you don't, absolutely fine as well. So I like to just work at it a bit, and then what I'll do is just get in here with my finger, and I'm just grabbing the middle of that V, the bottom of the V. Oh! Almost had it, you guys. Happens more often than not. So all I'll do is come in with this towel and just pull it out. Feel around in there. See, there's another piece right here. I'm gonna get in with my knife and do a little surgery. I'm just gonna pull that last little piece. Don't want a bone hanging out in there, especially a small one. That was a tricky wishbone. It's definitely much easier on a chicken, but that's your wishbone out. Now just take your finger and locate that middle breastbone, and we're gonna slice really closely on one side of it, just trying to stay as close to that bone as I can without wasting any meat. And you see I can just slice right through that top section because that wishbone is gone. And then we're just gonna turn the knife at the bottom and just slice out like this. Cut that on top. And feeling right here, there's just like a few millimeters of meat left on the carcass, which is actually good because that'll make better stock. And there's my turkey breast, complete with that big old tender in there that you see right there. All I'm gonna do with this is trim away a little bit of that skin. I wanna leave a little so I can sort of tuck it around like that, but we don't need all of that. And we'll go ahead and just repeat this process on the other side of our turkey. See how close we can get it. I'm just turning the corner in here slowly as I'm going down, just like this. And there's your other breast, huge. And there's your carcass, nice and clean. Set that with the other bits. And there you have it, my friends. 2 breasts, 2 legs and thighs, and 2 wings. And considering this only took 15 minutes to do while we filmed it, which is a whole nother angle, this is a small price to pay to have that sort of 6 hours of extra freedom it will buy you from not cooking a whole turkey. Now on the other side here, I have all my carcasses and bits. My wife will boil up these organs and she'll just wolf them down like a pelican, or like a wolf, like a, I don't know, whatever, how pelicans eat, but that's what she'll do to them. The rest of this, you could make turkey stock, you can make gravy with, you can do this 2 days before if you want and get super ahead. If you want to do that, hit these with a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, roast them in a 400-degree oven for about an hour until they're really nice and golden brown. Put them in a stock pot with some onions, some carrots, celery off, some bay leaves, some peppercorns, a little bit of parsley if you want. Let it simmer away for a couple hours and you'll have amazing turkey stock, which you can use to make your gravy, and you now have the best gravy recipe of all time, because at the end of this video, I will link to that, and it will also be linked down in the description. I highly recommend you make that gravy. Also, there's mashed potatoes, also there's stuffing, also there's yams, southern candied yams, which are very good. For the next phase, I'm gonna give you 2 seasoning choices. The first is a very standard sort of all-American poultry seasoning, but it is really good in its own right, and it's a combination of salt, smoked paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, a little herbs of Provence, although if you can't find that, just use some dried oregano, and then some fresh ground black pepper. Just get that all into a little bowl and give it a really good mix, and that's your seasoning done. It's that simple. My second seasoning choice for you is my homemade rosemary salt, and it's definitely my go-to. All you need to do for that is strip some rosemary leaves off the stem, pick some sage leaves off the stem, throw those herbs in a blender along with your salt, and then just add in some peeled garlic and a little bit of lemon zest. Blend it up for 1 minute, and you have one of the most incredible homemade seasonings of all time. And it truly does make everything just have that holiday taste. It is good in so many Thanksgiving dishes. When you're done with it, just put it in a Tupperware container, stick it in the fridge. It will last for months, but I try to use it up within a few weeks. And all I'm gonna do with this is mix all of my seasoning with some oil to form this sort of sludge, and I'll tell you why. I found this is the best way to get seasoning mixed with oil onto anything without it being weird and patchy looking. I think you know what I mean, right? When you try to just put spices directly onto turkey or chicken skin, it always ends up a mess, but this works really well. Now I'll take my little oil sludge here and just rub it on my meat. I'm starting with the breasts on the meat side. Just get a little bit under here, under that tender. Once I've got that side all good, I'll go ahead and flip these over and just do the same thing right here on the skin side, just making sure not to miss any spots. So we'll just get these all nicely rubbed down. If you're using the rosemary salt, you definitely don't need to use this oil method. This is just for those really fine powders like onion powder, garlic powder, paprika. Of course, we're not gonna leave the wings hanging. We'll do the exact same thing. And of course, with our thighs here, we're gonna just do the exact same thing on both sides. Make sure it's nice and thorough. Now with turkey, you basically have 3 options here. You could do a wet brine, you could do a dry brine, or you could do a no brine, which is what I recommend, and I'll tell you why. For starters, I'm just like you, right? I used to wet brine my turkey, then I used to air dry it in the fridge for 3 days, and then frickin' inject it with something and put something under the skin, and then have a couple monks bless it, and then take it on a little trip to the beach, and then take it in the ocean, go across the ocean, take it on a little trip, come back, have a little fun time with it. It's just a waste of time. Trust me, you're gonna have terrible turkey if you do all that. You wanna be with your family. You don't wanna be stuck in the kitchen dunking turkeys into buckets like some kind of freaking maniac. Once I did it this way, there is really no going back. However, you will see a lot of people opting for dry brining. If you're gonna brine it, you should definitely dry brine instead of wet brine, that's for sure. However, if I were to dry brine this turkey and leave it in the fridge for a day or 2, it would get that sort of ham-like cured meat texture that's meant for sort of sandwich meat. So what I recommend is just putting your seasoning on like this and just letting it sit from anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Just a little bit to let it get in there, but not enough to change the texture at all. Now for the best result possible, you're gonna want a really reliable wireless digital thermometer like the sponsor of today's video, the TYFER Gold. And thanks to the dual probes, I can take my breasts and thighs to precisely different temperatures. And there's no need for an app or being tethered to your phone. You can use the smart base for easy, effortless control. TYFER probes are built with 6 optimally positioned sensors for the highest accuracy. Plus, there is no more lost connections with your probes. You can be up to 3,000 feet away and still have a signal. And for the last 2 years, the TYFER has really helped me to have a stress-free Thanksgiving with amazing results. I also love it for smoking meat outside and large roasts in the oven like a prime rib. Overall, I've just had a really great experience with the TYFER. It's never dropped a signal on me and it's always given me perfect results. If you're ready to upgrade your kitchen with a powerful wireless thermometer, TYFER is offering 20% off the Sync Gold Dual for my viewers. Just click on the link in the description below and use code TDSunny20. Thank you, TYFER, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the turkey. And now to expand on last year's video, I'm gonna do some different temperatures for each of these breasts and thighs to see really what is best. So last year I did my breasts to 145, which I will still do with one this year, but I'm gonna do one to also 155. With the thighs and the legs over here, last year I did them to 190, which was really good, but I'm gonna take the other one to 205 to see if we can get that sort of melt in your mouth brisket-like texture from a turkey. Now I'm gonna start by taking probe number 1 and just inserting it into the very thickest part. I've always been taught to go in too far, pull back a little bit until you feel like you're really in the center of it. And same exact deal for our thigh here. We want to get to really to that point where the leg meets the thigh and then just pull back a little bit because that's going to take the longest to come up to temp. All we need to do now is get our meat straight into a 400-degree oven, 375 if you're using convection, which just means that there's a fan in the oven blowing the hot air around. Bon voyage, my little friend. And there we go, my first breast has hit 145, which only took 45 minutes. How nice is that? I'm simply just gonna get that one out onto a rack, along with my wings, because I know those are done. Then I'll just take the thermometer out of the first breast, put it into the second, and again, set the target temp to 155 for my other breast, so we can have some comparison here. And then I'll just get this one straight back in the oven. And there we go, next breast has hit 155. Let's go ahead and pull that one out to rest. And here we are on the thighs and legs. It just hit 190. And again, I'll just pull out that thermometer and pop it into my other thigh here. Let's take that first one off to rest and set our target temp to 205. Let's see if that makes a better thigh. Took about an hour and 15 minutes for that first one. Now let's put this one back in for a little longer. Took another 15 or 20 minutes for my other thigh and leg to hit 205. I let them all rest for a good 20, 25 minutes. I'd rather over rest meat and warm it back up than under rest it and slice into it right away. Here's Marcus.
Turkey eating expert.
So last year we did all the same temps, right? It was 145 for the breasts and 190 for the thighs. Let's see the difference. Let's start with the 190 breast, I suppose.
These experiments are my favorite because usually you cook something to a temperature that everybody's your whole life has told you to cook it to. Now we find out if that's true or if my world's gonna be shattered.
So there's 145 and you can see, like, I mean, that's glistening. Let's do a little pull test. That just comes right apart. I mean, look at that. Does that look tender? It is. That's breast at 145 with American seasoning. Damn, wow. I would say that's about like a nicely cooked chicken breast in terms of like the texture. That's so different than what you're gonna get at most Thanksgiving tables.
Temperature is way more important to me than if you season it well, just cook it right. No one wants a well-seasoned, dry-ass turkey.
Yeah, like, it looks beautiful on the dinner table and it just sucks. So this breast is cooked to 155. Keep in mind, whenever you're cooking a big piece of meat, it's gonna carry over cook a lot more. That's why I pulled the turkey so early at 145, but let's just have a look. Here's 155. Honestly, looks really good as well. Maybe slightly less glisten, but it's pulling apart nice and easy. Marcus, here, you know, he hates it when I touch his meat. I'll get you a fresh slice, bud.
Oh my God.
He hates it when I touch his meat.
That sentence
oh,
was insane.
Dude, I did not mean, no. No, for real though,
nuts.
I'm an innocent, like, angel. Like, I never do these things on purpose.
He hates it when I touch his meat.
Very similar, right? Maybe a touch firmer. This tells me that if you pull your turkey breast anywhere from 145 to 155, like, you're good.
Plan for 145, things happen, you'll screw up, and if you mess up by 10 degrees, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Both were great.
Okay, my friends, we're moving on to the thighs here. I'm just gonna find, where's that joint? Sometimes it's hard to find this joint. Where is that joint? I'm having a lot of trouble with this joint. I've been cooking for 20 years, still have trouble with this stuff. There it is. That was, for some reason, that was really hard to find. First try. Thighs and breasts to 190. Again, looks pretty juicy and tender in there. Definitely doesn't look bad. Cheers. This one for me was good, but a little bit chewy. Like if I was choosing that or the breast, I would definitely choose the breast. Tasted great. Everybody's gonna be happy with it. Gonna be better than most thighs out there. Just a little chewy. Okay, now let's try the one cooked to 205. If you know anything about barbecue or meat, once you go past 200, that's when you really get that collagen breaking down into gelatin. You get that braised sort of slow cooked effect. Look, can you believe that? You know what I mean? Like, that was crazy. First try. Oh, whoa, this just slicing through, that feels very different. Whoa, look-wise, about the same. Based on how it's slicing with a knife, I feel like this is gonna be much better. Oh my God, world of difference. That is much better. If you like it firmer, go for it. But 205, that's just breaking apart easier in your mouth. It tastes better. All that connective tissue is breaking down, so it's just easier to chew up. Very nice, I like that a lot.
The breast is already like a firmer piece. It makes it so there's two different experiences. There's a reason to have the white meat and a reason to have the dark meat now. Whereas the other one was just worse than the breast.
100%, so my final recommendation would be 145 for your breast, 150 even is fine, and then I would go 200, 205 for your thighs and legs, and that's gonna give you a really great meal. You can do this in less than 2 hours. It is a game changer for Thanksgiving, a game changer.
I like turkey a lot.
One more thing before I let you go. I'm planning on doing this because this method really just changed my mind about turkey. After Thanksgiving, I'm gonna go, dude. I'm gonna clean up the turkey around Austin, Texas. I'm gonna cook it and freeze it, maybe keep some raw, and just have it as like a lean protein for the next like 2 or 3 months. That's how I feel about it. We're wishing you a really happy and just joyous sort of
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Thanks for watching today, my friend. Definitely let us all know how your turkey turned out in the comments. Those comments, those reviews really keep me going. They honestly mean the world to me. And if you're taking on some more sides this Thanksgiving, here are 2 more awesome ones. I will also link even more down in the description so you can stay on this page for Thanksgiving. Trust me, I will not let you down. I promise you that. And if you want to gift someone a really great ebook with 55 of my favorite recipes, my Master in the Making ebook is linked in the description. You are the master in the making. Keep watching. I will keep teaching. And until next time, you know I love you and I'm out.